how to effectively implement a health and safety, occupational health and safety system based on ISO 45001. Our speaker for today is Mr. Ravi Shanker, and I'll introduce him just in a bit. Basically, what we are going to cover today in the webinar is more about how ISO 45002 can help you implement ISO 45001 in a better way in your existing organization, for those who have already certified for 45001, also for those who are considering to being certified. I'm Pallavi Banerjee, and I'm the marketing manager for Southeast Asia and India Middle East region. I have a few hygiene points that I would like to just quickly mention before our webinar officially begins. Ravi, can you please move on to the next slide? Sorry, the slide didn't move.
Yeah.
Thank you. The first thing, I know a lot of, we keep getting a lot of questions saying that will the recording be shared? So yes, the recording for today's session is going to be shared with everybody who has registered for the webinar. You will get the recording within a week of the session being completed. Whatever questions you have for a speaker during the session, please keep sending to us on chat. Our speaker will handle all the questions towards the end of his presentation. So all questions are more than welcome. Please do send us on chat. There'll be a short survey at the end of the webinar. I urge you to all to please take out 30 seconds. There are just 2 questions. Please take out 30 seconds, fill in the survey. And last but not the least, all of you who are attending our webinar session today will get a certification, participation certificate from LRQA. So thank you so much. And now to a quick introduction for Mr. Ravi Shanker. So Ravi is our Auditor Manager with the Dubai office LRQA, with over 25 years of management systems experience and over 15 years of experience in occupational health and safety. He is a very well-known name in the industry. He has done his MSc in Quality Management and has a NEBOSH International Diploma in Health and Safety. Ravi always believes in delivering value to the clients, how he can additionally enrich his clients, how he can make sure that the clients are doing the right thing, both regulatory wise and both for their organization. So as I said, very well-known name in the industry. I wouldn't really want to carry it on much longer, and I'll pass it on to Ravi. Ravi, thank you so much for being the speaker today, and over to you.
Thank you, Pallavi, for a nice intro. I hope I deserve all these accolades, what you have mentioned here. So welcome everyone here for this 45001 implementation. Basically, we are going through ISO 45002, which have been published this year in 2023. Basically, it's a guidance on implementing occupational health and safety in line with 45001. Because the way it is modeled, it is complementing the clauses, although that it's not mandatory that you have to always use ISO 45002 to implement 45001. So it's optional here. And if you remember that from earlier OSAs, we had 18001 and there was a guidance 18002. So a little bit modeled on the same last one, but of course it addresses to the new requirements within 45001. You might question that, okay, this guidance, now the standard was published in 45001 was published in 2018. So almost 5 years we have, after 5 years we have the guidance note. In fact, in between there was a handbook published by ISO. It is called Handbook 2018, but it was published in 2020. That was catered to the small and medium enterprises there. That handbook is still there. So this 45002, I would say that it's a bit late, but okay, for good things, it's never too late. So this is applicable to all the organizations, whether it is medium, small, large organizations, any sectors. Means there are a lot of takeaways from that. For the preparation of this webinar, I have gone through 45002. And to be honest, I like the many aspects. I am also a trainer for occupational health and safety, and when I was delivering training in line with 45001, then I always felt that I needed more input, and I used to do a lot of research work from UK HSE sites or ILO, OSHA, and in fact, everything looks like it is condensed now and it is available in this guidance document. So very useful. That SME handbook is still there; it's not obsolete. And then the beauty of it is that it contains 48 real life implementation examples. I haven't counted myself personally because it is based on someone task, one of my colleagues. So if 48 is maybe 47 or 50, so please don't blame me here. But there are a lot of real life implementation examples which will be quite useful for the organization. Just to remind here people that ILO keeps on publishing this information on their website, and of late, these are the statistics. 6,000 people die every day from work-related injury or illnesses. In the previous statistics, it was 7,000. So looks like there is some reduction on that. But also we have 340 million occupational incidents, which I believe, if I remember correctly, it used to be around 370. But also we have 160 million ill health. So ill health is being categorized separately there. And not to mention that everything will have a huge economic impact on the countries, on the people. So we have to be always mindful that occupational health and safety management system is key to ensure, prevent injury, ill health, provide safe working condition to everyone. Like as an organization, we have got a moral duty also, to protect and safeguard our people. Like we say that quality is for customers, environmental is for the environment, of course, but occupational health and safety is for everyone, people who are working, employees, or those who are working on your behalf, or even visitors, external bodies. So 45,001, lot of improvements, I would say, that earlier OSAS 18,001, especially it is aligned with the high level structure, which is all the 9,001 certification standards are following, like 9,001, 14,001, then ISMS and other standards there. So it is quite easy to integrate with other standards if you are looking for an integration. And then there is a lot of emphasis on the leadership role, consultation and participation. It also included not only OHSMS risk, but also the other risk and opportunities, inclusion of health and well-being. So there are many positive aspects. But also it led some challenges. My personal experience, I would say, it's not like a survey. So certain requirements became little bit too generic, like monitoring and measurement, performance evaluations, and then other clauses, other sections like context of the organization, risk and opportunity, consultation and participation, especially the requirements are very comprehensive, especially the consultation and participation. It could be a bit of nightmare for any organization to comply with all those requirements. And then this can be also used for organizations which are new to OHSMS. So here 45,002 I think makes a sincere attempt, to take into consideration all the difficulties we are facing in terms of the implementations. And let's see further. So key drivers for business, as we say that anyone implementing a management system, they are looking for a sustainable business. It's a long-term decision. It's not that something you are looking for a few months or 1 or 2 years. And then meeting the needs and expectations of interested parties is the key, because some of them might lead into compliance obligations, which is very important for any organization. Sometimes we call it balancing the needs and expectations, because it might not be possible to fulfill each and every aspects. And then end of the day, building a strong safety culture. During my auditing experience, I have seen that many companies might have the OHSMS certified for very long, but the safety culture is maybe lacking. For example, you have any interaction with the organization, and then when you approach them, you go to their offices, there is no one to do a proper induction, the housekeeping is not good, people, you can see behavioral issues, people making shortcuts. So these small things, they point out to that, okay, they might have a certificate, but the actual implementation maybe it could be, they need to look at uh, and build a strong safety culture for the benefit of the organization, because a strong OHSMS definitely it leads to good profitability, and then retention of the clients, your customers, and also improve the morale of the worker. The whole idea of engagement is to also improve the morale of the worker there. So definitely with a good management systems, there is a lot of benefits, whether it is financial or whether it is societal, ethical, you know. So within this guidance document here, so 48 examples are just examples. And we need to find out that what we need to adopt from this one, not that everything might be relevant to you. And then what we need to adapt, and do something different. So these 48 examples are like not like the best practices. They are just an example, and you are free to choose any one of them and customize to your own organizations. So the thing is that for the successful implementation, how do we make the right choice and the decision? What is the key element actually? Uh, so the thing is that, okay, the performance and the key test is the effectiveness. So just to give an example, for example, you have got a very good management system written down and you have implemented, but a particular incident, health and safety, it keeps on recurring. So whatever you have made the choice, the framework, the policy, procedures, we can say that, the implementation is lacking somewhere. So the right choice and decision, should be based on the effectiveness, which is the outcome of health and safety. And the outcome is to prevent ill health, injuries, incidents, and also provide the safe working environment and protect the health and safety of the employees, and also have the continual improvement. So the test of effectiveness is important. But as an auditor, I would say that conformance also plays quite a good role. So when we are auditing, especially the companies which are new, which are yet to achieve a maturity level, so you may find that the health and safety statistics is very good, like no LTI, no injuries, no serious incidents. But are they conforming? So we look more thoroughly into conforming, because not having an incident, injury does not mean that the system is very good. Maybe you are just waiting for something to happen, as it happens always in health and safety. There is a big surprise element that nothing happened for so many years and suddenly you have got a major incidents there. So test is effectiveness, but conformance is also very, very important. So you should base it on your decision on these aspects. Pallavi, do you have a poll question at this stage?
Yes, I'll just launch it.
So please participate in the poll. So the question is that what is your organization's biggest health and safety management challenge?
We have a poll results here, Ravi. I'm
Okay,
going
how
to
I can
keep it
see
there for
that
next
one?
30 seconds.
Okay, how I can see the poll results?
They're here on the screen. You can't see them.
Okay, will you read or?
Yeah, sure. So 24% people have chosen workplace incidents and hazards. 65 say employee participation, 20%
Okay.
emergency preparedness, 29 psychological health and well-being, and 29 OHS performance evaluation. So the majority are saying employee participation, which is quite
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, consultation and participation. In fact, every time we have the poll, we get the same answer, that the employee workers engagement, that becomes that remains the biggest challenge for any organization, any sectors, any size of the organization. So I believe that it quite aligns with even my perception that still, although the standard is there for almost 5 years, the requirements are quite clear, but that's an area I think every company wants to improve. So thank you very much for participating in the poll question. So moving on, starting with, I have tried to model all the key requirements of the standard, and give some snapshots and where ISO 45002 can help us. So context of the organization, as we know that context is consisting of internal and external issues, interested parties, the scope of the management system, and then occupational health and safety management system itself, policy and procedures, the framework what you have. So context, in fact, sets the scene. The foundation is stone for any management system, because these are high level informations which are going to help you in identifying the risk and opportunities, the legal requirements, any non-OHS issues, and also the boundary for the scope and what kind of policies and procedure you should have. So here the guidance document has done quite well in terms of identifying the internal and external issues. The internal issues can be, like coming out within the organization based on their vision, missions, workers' capability, the finances which are in place, legal compliance issues. So there are examples of given in the guidance that what can be internal issues, what can be external issues, and this has to link to the prevention of ill health, injury, legal compliance, safe provision of healthy workplace, and enhancement of performance. And then the guidance document also gives some methodology how to determine context, and there are several examples of internal and external issues. For example, the issues coming out of the workers engagement, action items for management, technological, cultural, political, it could be. And of course, there are 3 steps to identify needs and expectations of the different stakeholders, whether it is internally, like within your organization or contractors, and also the external parties, which could be your customers, which could be community, which could be regulatory bodies. So we need to identify their expectations, and then first identify which are the interested parties, and then identify their expectations and identify that which can become the compliance obligation. Again, within the guidance document, there are examples given for the identifying needs and expectations. So we should make use of that one. Some of the tools and techniques which you might be already familiar, that we are using it for identifying the internal and external issues, is the PESTEL, political, economic, societal, and technological, legal, environmental. Sometimes we also do the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. And these are some examples which are given within the guidance, that one company did the brainstorming with the staff, the workers. When we talk about workers, everybody is a worker, but in the 45,001 also there is a non-managerial workers. So people who are not responsible for management, they are called non-managerial. But overall, everyone is a worker here. So brainstorming session with the staff, workers, and workers representative. So they identify the issues and they document them. You know that within 45,001, there is no need to document the context of the organization. But this organization decided to document and also review and update them on a regular basis. And then in another example, it was given then a survey was done to identify the internal and external issues. and this was presented to the management, higher management. They reviewed that, and after some moderations, it was subsequently shared with the worker representative for final review. Usually we have to understand that identifying context is little bit of senior management function. Most of the companies I see that, it will be on the senior management, but this I think is a good example to involve also going to the maybe non-managerial workers and their representative and seek their views, which is also a requirement within the standard under consultation and participation, because we need to consult them when we are establishing context. And then another example, number 3, is that forming a team for implementation of OHSMS, and also conducting the annual review of the highest ranked risk to determine opportunities. So another thing that I have not seen that many organizations, they do that one exclusively for the highest ranked risk, and they from that also they identify the opportunity. So I believe this is a very good example. Then another aspect, moving from the context here, the leadership aspects here, and we all know that in 45001, those who have been using that leadership requirements have been very well elaborated. So this is very key to the building OHSMS, because without leadership involvement and their commitment, it will be very difficult to run any management system. Forget about the occupational health and safety. And then one of the prime tasks is that establishing roles and responsibilities at each level and function. For this thing, to be honest, I like 45 more than any other standard, because most of the other standards, they are more heavily focused on kind of management roles, responsibility, other operational. But here it goes down to the workers level, non-managerial, because if they don't also have roles to play, there can be some incidents. Then workers engagement is a very important aspect, consultation and participation. And end of the day, they need to build a good long-term safety culture for their own benefit, so that they can take peace that things are going correctly, even if they are not present at the site, or going out of office for some work, or when they are relaxing, the health and safety issue does not bother them. So leadership role is very important, and if they are involved, then definitely you have got improvements. Wherever I have seen my experience, that wherever there is a good involvement of leadership, we have very good OHSMS and client retention, and also the moral of the worker is very good. So one of the important aspects of consultation and worker participation, as I have been telling, that the consultation is to do with seeking the views on something. For example, we seek their views on internal and external issues, or identifying roles and responsibilities. When we establish objectives and management programs, we seek their views. And also when we are looking into operational controls for the safe work practices, monitoring and measurements, we seek their view. We are asking for any training provider, again we seek their views. So there is a lot of good elaboration on consultation. And then participation is something to do with the active involvement. For example, identification of hazards, we need to involve non-managerial workers. And then assessment of risk and opportunities, competence and training delivery selections, and also the investigation of incidents and NCs. And there are in fact a lot of good case studies within the UK HSE website, where the good consultation and participation has resulted into the reduction of the incidents, the absenteeism to the extent of 30 to 40%, and also reduction in the ill health within the organization here. So consultation and worker participation definitely is key to have the worker morals, so that organization can look into the workers' needs and expectation, and then accordingly they can align their OHSMS. Because if the workers, they take the OHSMS, they understand the purpose, the need, and what is expected from them, I think they are able to contribute more to the organization health and safety. So there are again some examples which are given that managers are including. I think many organizations will be already doing these things. But yeah, if you see any points from the examples, you can always take it with you. So managers including OHS topics in department meetings and reviews. This, in fact, I also do that before starting any meetings. We always have a mandatory OHS topic. So it gives a good prominence to everyone, irrespective of whether the meeting is conducted by middle management or senior management or at a workers level. Sometimes we call it toolbox talk. Then another example, which is also prevalent in some organizations, I have seen that they conduct town hall meetings. This could be a little bit more informal because this can be clubbed with annual event. And then they will share the performance at a high level and then also welcome new ideas. Then the third one, which I like personally, that I haven't seen myself, but the common training sessions with workers and management. So one of the important aspect of consultation and participation is to remove the barriers. So when workers and management are together, definitely it helps a lot, like a site walk around tour or having breakfast or lunch or dinner with them, and then having the common training sessions. In one company, I found that there was like an open session for everyone with the manager. So one day in the month, it was like half a day, it was dedicated for like having an open house with the manager. And I found personally that it was quite good. So another example is given is that one company felt that there is no need for safety committee because safety committee might introduce some kind of restraints, constraint in terms of communications, because then you don't communicate with everyone. You might just communicate with the worker representative or the safety committee members. So they decided to remove that and hold the weekly call on occupational health and safety to everyone there. So message was, the management was trying to directly engage all the workers at one go. Excuse me. And then encourage workers to deliver toolbox talks. This I have seen happening and quite a good process. Apart from engagement, it has also benefit that workers do their own research in terms of what they are going to deliver. And the message is also received quite well because they see that, okay, someone from their side in their own language, they are delivering the message there. And then setting up formal teams to share issues, solutions at their level, and then presenting it to the management for the agreed actions there. So plenty of good examples on the leadership role. I think we can look into that one. So that is another good takeaway from 45,002. Coming to the risk part, and we know that most of the health and safety professionals will be spending a lot of time on this aspect, because that is something like a backbone, which includes the hazard identification, potential to harm, whether it is a physical hazard working at height or chemical hazard from a chemical exposures, biological. For example, we had coronavirus, psychosocial, for the working hours, or mental health issues, or personal issues can also lead to problems in the workplace. And it needs to also cover routine and non-routine work. For example, breakdown, maintenance could be a non-routine work because it was unforeseen. Temporary workers, refurbishment, temporary works, refurbishment, emergency situations. So there is very, very good examples of hazard identification. What are the tools to be used? For example, site inspections we can do to identify, take a round of the site and identify the hazards. Flow charting is another way to have a systematic determination. Interview the people, monitoring data, benchmarking, several techniques are given. And then examples of hazard identification is also given with the impact in 45,002. And coming to the risk assessment, so they have identified risk which is not OHS, no, other risk in 45,001. For example, lack of financial resources, legal non-compliance is also a risk. Although the lack of financial resources immediately it's not occupational health and safety. And then there are various techniques given, like the famous the matrix which is given here, the colored one, green, yellow, orange, and red color. I think everyone should be quite familiar. So we call it qualitative risk assessments. But also depending upon some organizations, some examples are given that you do the risk assessment with no controls, and then you identify what impact it can have, because the whole idea of risk assessment is to prioritize our actions there, that which one is the high risk or extreme risk where we need immediate attention, and for the maybe moderate and low risk, maybe we can take some time there. So qualitative, quantitative techniques, and depending upon the industry, for example, the petrochemicals, refineries, oil and gas might use other techniques like FEMA, failure effect and mode analysis, HAZOP, hazardous operations. In also industry instrumentation, they use SIL, safety integrity levels. So there are various techniques which are given in 45002. And also there is a, a kind of word of caution that be mindful of accuracy of data and information. For example, you looked into your own organization and you are a new person, and some incidents might have happened in the past which have caused serious damage to the people, and somehow since you are new and the records are not kept correctly, you might miss on that one. So always be mindful, even if you are collecting data from the external source or the industry, try to verify that what it is here, so that the incorrect data information can have some potential issues in terms of the risk evaluation, assessments, and prioritizing it. So that's a good word of caution within the guidance document. Moving on. So there is an example that a company replacing machines where there had been frequent incidents, and also going beyond minimum requirements. So another organization that they already had an emergency and first aid services. It was kind of a remote site, if I remember, but they decided to have a provision of a part-time doctor so that it will help the people around there. So good thought. And also another example, this is a multi-site. I think it's like a global companies. So they also suggest that you can have a generic risk assessment for corporate office, and then this can be customized to the locations based on the specific needs and the issues and the legal requirements. In fact, within our own organization, we follow this practice that we have a generic risk assessment, and then each country or the regions, they are supposed to customize. And I think it works quite well on that one. So some good tips are there within 45002. Training and competence, quite an important aspect of occupational health and safety management system. If you go through any major incident, accidents, it will point out to competence part that maybe worker was not aware, or he or she was not competent to do the particular task. So it is directly related to the performance of occupational health and safety management system, and there are various ways to deliver training. So in one company, they have the training matrix, which I have also seen. It's a major EPC company that the training matrix is listing down all the key skills pertaining to each function, right from the CEO, managing director, until the lowest function in the organization. They have established a very good matrix, and they identify that what kind of training should be given, training awareness should be given to that particular, and it has also got a kind of test facility, so people will be evaluated when they are given the training. And then also there is a provision for refresher training, so that can be looked at. Then awareness also is via toolbox talk, and then display on the notice boards, and also workers participation in the investigation. That is one of the way. And then displaying operating instructions in local languages. OHS booklet in multiple languages. Again, I found this in some companies in a major shipyard, because sometimes whatever training you give, especially in a large organization, it's and complex organizations, when there are so many trade functions within the company, it's very difficult for anyone to remember any workers. So documenting everything, all the key requirements. That serves as a good aid memoir for everyone, and also it is very useful and handy for visitors induction, external parties. And then another company has the online library for external communication, which will go in the next slide there. So some good examples. Then communication is another aspect. Again, most of the incidents will point out that there was a breakage in the communication, or communication was lacking. People didn't know what to do at that time. They were not communicated properly about the changes, their roles and responsibility, all those things there, change management. And the communication has to be both ways. So we say top down, from management to workers, and also from workers to the management, for within the organization, internal communication there. And then also management needs to look into the fear of reprisal for any reports, anything which is pointing out some weaknesses in the health and safety management system. The management walk around is again a useful tool for improving the communications, open door policy, town hall meetings. And as I was telling in the previous slide, that this I found it quite innovative, having an online library for external communication. So anytime the interested parties could go there and see that what has happened to their concerns or grievances there, or the feedback. Coming to the operations, using hierarchy of controls, we know that we need to have proper and controlled operations to do what? Basically to safeguard the people health and safety, prevent any ill health and injury, and also provide the safe working environment and the workplace, and also improve the performance. So setting operational criteria is one of the things. And then there is a mention of human factors, error of judgment, and maybe sometimes deliberate violations. And this human factors and the error of judgment is coming more and more nowadays. In fact, again, as part of my neighbors international diploma, I was looking into some real life cases which has happened in the past, major incidents which was a major fatality. In fact, recently we had a train accident in India, and the preliminary investigation also it points out to the human error on that one. So this is a bit of sign of worry, because an organization might have done everything, very good system, identifying context, operational control, but what they can do to prevent the error of the judgment, mistakes, and also at times maybe deliberate violations there. Maybe minimize the human interventions, automate things. That can be one of the ideas there. Proper training, rules and regulations, protocols, making them aware of their responsibility, that if they don't fulfill their responsibility, what can go wrong, and all those things there. So I felt that that was quite value adding to mention human factors in the operational control, apart from other things. And then there is a lot of elaboration on the procurement, contracting. So when you procure something, definitely we need to identify health and safety requirements. And when the material comes, equipment comes, then how we inspect that. How do you make sure that it is safe? So after installation, there should be some commissioning, there should be some testing, and then proper handover for operations there. So in terms of procurement, for contracting, like a piece of work, for example, we are giving a office modification. So it is beyond outsourcing, because outsourcing generally deals with an outsourcing of a process. So contracting is usually a piece of work. For example, I'm an EPC company and I don't have expertise to do construction work, so I may contract the construction part there. Again, right from selecting the contractors and making them aware of their obligations, and their role in hazard identifications and operational controls, training, awareness, incident investigations, and also reporting. If there are multiple contractors at site, then how the coordination has to take place, who will take the lead. So a lot of good information in terms of contracting, subcontractors control, we can look into 45,002. And then also the outsourcing. So for example, a manufacturing company is outsourcing NDT, or painting work to another organization. So in that case, the level of controls. So it is suggesting that if we are outsourcing something which is our core process, then definitely we need a high level of controls because it is our core process. But if it is not our core process, for example, I'm a manufacturing company and I am outsourcing IT, definitely the level of controls will be minimal from an occupational health and safety point of view there. So the degree of control can include the information which should be communicated to the service provider, and arrangements for risk identification controls. Maybe internal audit needs to cover their processes. We need to make some site visits, and they should also have obligations to report incidents if something happens. So depending upon what you are outsourcing, we need to look into the level of controls there. Very, very important. In fact, I will just quote an incident which I still remember, I cannot forget. And it was 20 years back when health and safety was not so prominent. And I was doing some kind of survey from Lloyd's Register, and suddenly it was a construction site. And suddenly there was an incident, and the owner's representative, that was quite a bit of panic situation. And I was wondering that, the incident has happened in the contractor's premises, and the owners are still safe, nothing has happened to them. But now I realized that, okay, they had already implemented contractors control. That was their policy because it was a major oil and gas company, and it was part and parcel of their policies to also have the control on the contractors here. So occupational health and safety management system can be only successful, when the performance across whatever, who is doing work for us also, not only ourselves as an organization, they also meet the expected level of performance. So then there are examples, usage of camera, like one company has a lot of violations and issues, violence was there for parking. So they automated the parking areas, the ticketing systems, so which had quite a good significant reductions in terms of the violence which was happening. And then work alone software applications, which I believe that for remote work alone, it becomes quite significant now. Some companies might have already a kind of GPS monitoring for location tracker, especially a remote oil field or something like that. Vehicle management system. Also, I have seen some companies already doing that one. Excuse me. And establishing contractor obligation during tendering through site work, site meetings, joint inspections. Again, is something good to share that one organization, before anyone tenders, they keep the documentation ready in their office, and before the contractors they participate in the tender, they are supposed to visit the organization, go through everything, familiarize, and then only they can make a proposal. And then I was telling that the paint work in which the written obligations to service provider on outsourcing, internal audits, site inspections. And there is another example of car service facility in which they looked into the racking system, the traffic management, and also the ergonomics of the people who are doing the car service, general infrastructure. So they invested quite a lot actually to upgrade the facility. Emergency preparedness and response. Again, there are very good examples of the scenarios, whether in addition to fire, weather-related gas leak, major equipment failure, serious mental health or behavioral issues. And we don't want this, but unfortunate death of a worker, whether it is within the premises or remotely, that can also, is one of the scenarios. And then as an organization, we need to plan and then prepare, also look into the emergency equipment, what we need, maintain them, also coordinate with authorities, especially for major organizations. There could be authorities, which taking participate in these emergency scenarios, and then periodic testing of the emergency plans and drills and their evaluations. Coming to performance evaluation, now here I feel that there is a big improvement and takeaway on 45,002, because I always felt that 45,001, they just left with some questions that you need to monitor, you need to measure, but you establish that what you want to measure, how you want to do it, when you want to do it, and where you want to do it. So all those questions are answered in this one. So monitoring is to know the status of something. Measurement is related to more to measure the values. For example, noise measurement, it will come out with a value. Analyze is something to look deeply into why this is happening. And analysis is collection of data to ascertain what is, are we achieving the intended outcome. Trend sometimes what we call. And there is also a consideration of a statistical approach in doing the data analysis, which most of the organization, I'm sure that they will be doing it. And then also it includes legal compliance, internal audits, management reviews. Some of the big takeaways that which was there in the earlier versions of OSAS, which was 18,001, the leading and lagging indicators, which they completely removed from 45,001. So in the guidance, you will find all the references. What are the leading indicators? For example, number of inspections which have been done, training provided, monitoring health, fitness checks, and also lagging indicators like non-conformances, incident rates, lost time injury, first aid cases. So very, very good examples. In another example, that an oil company planning audits based on risk and complexities of the processes. If I have looked into the draft international version of 45,001, in fact, there was an inclusion of risk-based auditing. But when the final standard came out, I think they removed the word risk and they left it with the status and importance of the activities and the previous finding. So introduction of risk-based auditing, I would say very good, especially where the threats are, quite severe. And then educational institute planning 4 years audit cycle with each area being audited twice. And then in another example that they provide, so management review, they conduct it and they provide a high level summary on actions needed out of the management review, because sometimes management review documentation becomes very comprehensive and the senior and top management may not have a lot of time to go through everything. So they provide a summary which is very good for further action taking. Then again on incidents and non-conformance control, lot of good tips are there. Common understanding of incidents is very important. Sometimes we have a lot of debates whether it is an incident, whether it is a near miss, or whether it is a safety observations. And then it also recommends that we need to capture all kinds of incident, near misses. And then competence of worker is required in terms of the investigation, incident investigation. Also immediate action for imminent danger, when we have something which is life threatening and can happen soon, then we also need immediate action, because corrective action root cause might require some more time. And then incidents also have to be impartial and objective. And with regards to the non-conformance control, they also say that not every incident is a non-conformance. For example, there is a high wind when I was driving. So that's not a non-conformance in itself there, but that could be an incident there. So they have also described that situations which can lead to non-conformance, for example, failure to implement controls, policies, objectives, legal compliances. So a lot of scenarios are given that which can lead to non-conformance. Then also it emphasizes on the individual responsibility to identify the problems or non-conformances, because this can really help the organization if these are identified correctly well in time. And then for incidents or non-conformance investigations, usage of techniques, some of this we already know, that fault tree, 5Y, and then 4M, material machine methods, manpower and environment. In, all those techniques can be used. Pallavi, how much time we have? We are almost getting to the end
Yeah,
there.
yes. We are on
So,
time for question and answers, Ravi.
so
So,
just one or two slides, and then we can have Q&A.
yes, yes.
So, in terms of continual improvement, which is an important aspect of again 45,001, And there are some tips given there that we already discussed the town hall meetings to share the ideas. Some companies, they do safety day awareness campaign, greater emphasis on mental well-being nowadays. So many organizations are spending their time and efforts to improve that, especially those who are involved into the remote work there. Then adapt work to workers. That's a continuous process. We can never be perfect there. And at times adopting best industry practices. So these are some of the continual improvement areas. So to summarize, in my opinion, after going through the 45,002, very, very good guidance document to see the things at one place, requirements are expanded with further guidance. It's not an interpretation, but loads of information is there, methods, techniques, what can be done. And of course, there is a real life examples, and it's very, very useful because it sets for new organization a very good starting point, because my experience is that maybe some organizations who lack maturity, they didn't start well because not enough guidance or information was available at that time. But now we have this one, so we can make use of it. And also certified organizations can look back that something which is not effective, they can always look into and then address the gaps, omissions, or adopt the best practice there. So there is something for everyone. And then further references, which is not in the 45,002. This is based on my experience that ILO OHS 2001, it's a guidance document, something like 45,001, but it's a guidance. And this was way back in 2001. You can refer that. And ILO also has got a lot of COPs, code of practice, and guidance documents, sector specific occupational health and safety, case studies, informations. UK HSE was very helpful when I was doing my own studies, a diploma, wealth of information is there. And of course, we have also Occupational Safety and Health Act there. So that's it basically from my side. And I don't know, Pallavi, if you want to cover this one, means thank you so much, for attending this webinar. It was my honor and privilege to present this session. Back to you, Pallavi.
Thank you, Ravi. If you could just pause your screen, we can take the question and answers quickly. We do
Okay,
have
fine.
a lot of interesting of them questions. Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, fine. Sorry, we'll go to the questions. Yeah, okay. Uh, is it okay, Pallavi?
Yeah, Ravi, just give me a minute. I'm sending you the questions. We have a lot of them coming in. So thank you so much, everybody, for your questions. I'll start with the first one. It's a very
Yeah,
interesting but simple question. It says, is ISO 45002 standard auditable?
no, it's a guidance document. Yeah, it just complements 45,001 for implementation. It's not an auditable thing, especially for the certification purpose. No, it's a purely guidance.
Thank you, Ravi. I've sent you the questions. Do you want me to read out to
Yeah,
them
there
or are
is.
you okay?
Yeah, that for the conclusive, how is the differential points between 45,000? Let me just move. Okay, how is the differential points between 45,001 and 45,002 and its additional points from 45,1 to 45,002? Also, could you sending to me the PowerPoint presentation file for this webinar? Last but not the least, when the 45,002 would be launched? It means 45,002 is already published there, so 2023. And as I said that it's not a certifiable standard because certifiable standard is 45,001. This is just complementing the 45,001 for implementation side of it. Sharing this slide, I believe that the webinar itself, the recorded webinar will be shared. Pallavi,
Yes.
correct me if I'm
Yes.
wrong.
Yes. No, no, no. As I said at the starting itself, the webinar recording
Yeah,
will be shared.
yeah. So slide will be part of that one. And then for another question that for competence of worker in investigation, apply for all levels in the organization or employee representative. I would say that, the person whomsoever you are selecting for the incident investigation, It can be, but definitely the standard mandates that the worker representative, non-managerial worker participation should be there. So whether it is a worker representative or the non-managerial worker themselves, I will leave it to the organization there. But the most important thing is that they should be non-managerial, and also they should be competent to do that one, so that we can establish that there is the investigation is impartial, when there are workers representatives. And then there is another question: what are the mandatory requirements of 40? Again, as I said, that there is an elaboration of everything. So a guidance is a guidance; it doesn't mandate anything there. So let's say for internal and external issues, they give you 20 examples. I can take only maybe 5 out of it, because other 15s are not valid there. So my 45,002 does not mandate anything. And what are the training certificate required to gain 45,001 certificate? I'm not sure. This is about the personal certification. Then we have got auditor and lead auditor courses. And if it is for companies, then we have to get in touch with LRQA, and we do gap analysis, we do initial certifications. We have a number of clients which are certified within LRQA, especially in the Middle East here. So please get back to the marketing or sales team, or just put a query on our website and we will take it from there. Then there is another question that if 45,002 is only a guidance document, is it required for a staff to be trained for 45,002? I would say, again, I leave it to the organization that what you want to take it from that. And as we have seen for last 45 minutes, that there is a lot of takeaways. So maybe you can pick up things what you want to adopt. As I said in the beginning, that the decision making is yours, that what you want to take away for you, and something you want to take away which is not working for you, something which is already working for you, you don't want to disturb that. So yeah, I leave it to the organization for the training aspects. And there is another question that can you elaborate a bit on workers participation and consultation, what evidence we should retain for auditing purpose? Yeah, I mean, so I won't suggest to stick to one thing. There are many ways by which we can do. As I said, that the formal meetings, it's something which is there. Then there is a toolbox talk. There are training sessions which can be used for their engagement. We can do surveys, anonymous surveys sometimes. Incident investigations. That's another way to do that one. Town hall meetings, management walkarounds. So loads of there are ways to do that one. And then when establishing another question, a new procedure and work instructions, new process of work, is there any thumb rule to decide custodian for the new process of work, which department should be? I would say that the process owner should be the custodian of any processes or work instruction, because they are the people who know that what needs to be done and what people should know there. So the custodian, the prime responsibility should be with the process owner. But of course, if you have got a central health and safety team, they can always support. And then what is the major difference between 18,001, 45,001? Generally, now since we are already 5 years, so nobody will ask this question. But 18,001 was very good on technical information, but it was not based on the high level structure. So for example, there was nothing about context of the organization, internal and external issues, which sets the, you can say the scene for establishing any management system. And then the leadership role, the top management was very limited to assigning roles, responsibility, management representative. Then consultation and participation was also very limited, only some few sentences. And also I would say that contractors control, outsourcing, again there were only 1 or 2 lines on the organizational obligations, but in the 45,001 there is a hell amount of elaborations on these topics there. So Pallavi, back
Thank you
to
so
you. I
much.
believe that
Yeah,
was the
Ravi,
last
thank you so
question
much.
for me.
Those are all the technical questions we had. We do have a number of questions asking for where can people do the lead auditor and internal auditor courses for 45,001 and
Okay.
14,001. So for that, anybody and everybody who wants to do a course, you can please send us your queries to inquiries.ae@lrqa.com. I'll repeat, enquiries.ae@lrqa.com. And we will be more than happy to reach out, or you can just go to our website, lrqa.com, fill in the inquiry form, and our sales team will get in touch with you within 48 hours. For apart from training, I'm also getting queries for certification. Again, anybody who wants to get certified with us, please fill in our inquiry form or write to us on inquiries.ae@lrqa.com, and our sales team will get back to you with all the required details and any support that you need, starting from gap analysis to training. So thank you so much. Lovely questions, and thank you so much, Ravi, for such an insightful session. I am really, really looking forward to our next session together, and to everybody who joined us today. Thanks a lot again. Have a great day. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Pallavi, and also all the delegates there, that for attending this session. And as I said, that health and safety is of prime importance for everyone, for ourselves, for people who are working with us, for which we are responsible. It's also an moral obligations. So please do the right thing, make right choices, right decision. We don't need to copy everything. Just take what suits you, and then I wish you a good luck, for a healthy and safe workplace without any incidents. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I see there are some unattended questions. We will get back to you on email. Please do write to us. We couldn't take all of them for lack of time today. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.